Hi guys, in this video I'm going to talk a little bit about approaching women for the first time and the fear of rejection that sometimes we're confronted with. Now, the party scene out here in the UK is very different than what I'm accustomed to in Trinidad and Tobago. So I admit that I'm still kind of learning some of the nuances and some of the cultural idioms. But at the same time, I'm pushing the limits. I'm trying to step beyond a bit of that insecurity and, still approach and still, man up about these things. I tend to get rejected because of, my height. I'm relatively on the shorter end. I'm like 5'6" and change. I'm also a chubby guy. That's not very common out here. But beyond that, I've also gotten the whole host of, the rejection lines that a lot of women, they say out here. And I just wanted to speak a little bit about that frame. Personally for me, I understand that if I'm approaching a woman for the first time, and she doesn't know me, we have no kind of prior dialogue, and she might say some stupid statement in trying to like shove me off, I can't really take that personally. For the simple reason that they don't actually know me as an individual, right? Now they could shoot down my height, my weight, and maybe my opening line, but that's really as far as any kind of personal rejection can really go, because everything beyond that, anything that was really hurtful, has to come from somebody who actually is familiar with my life in some capacity. But a lot of guys, they put on the handbrakes and they're afraid of actually making that step because of the fear of rejection and how it's going to affect them personally. And guys, I'd just like to say that's, you really have to reframe that perspective. Now, there's a lot of information in the manosphere and in the PUA, the pickup artist community, about approach, about confidence and all these other things. And like really changing your perspective on those things. So understanding that I can't take it personally has really helped me. And the second thing, of course, is that it could actually be her way of testing you as an individual. Now, I'm just going to share a couple of stories about this. One night, a friend of mine and myself, we ended up in Camden pretty late at night. We went to a burlesque show, and we were just out there with all the artists and stuff like that. And on the way back, we're got a couple drinks in our head, and we see these two young girls sitting outside the bank. And, he's a very forward guy. He's just kind of like, hey, good evening, ladies. Is anywhere still open tonight? And one of them, she just kind of, stuck her tongue out like, go away. And he immediately kind of backed off from that whole thing. But I spun around and be like, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the cute one. And I stood my ground. And I realized in a sense that completely disarmed her. She was powerless. And we actually did end up having a pretty good conversation. One of their friends wasn't doing so well and stuff. But, sometimes women will challenge you, And these are young girls out in the city. They're probably approached by hundreds of guys just in the last hour. So sometimes that initial rejection is a test. And it's a way of her, kind of screening out some of the creeps and stuff like that, or the guys that really can't hold their ground. So that's one way to look at it. The second thing, of course, is not taking it personally. Again, when she did that, I didn't even pay it any mind. I just completely dismissed her, and I started talking to her friend, and she basically got shut down. She was powerless at that point. And, that was a way of looking at it, not taking it personally. But the second story I want to talk about is this idea that rejection is better than regret. I do not want to be in a couple of years' time looking back on my life, when I'm hitting 50, 60, or whatever the case might be, and wondering if only I had done this, or, if this could have happened. I don't want to live with that kind of regret. So even if I approach a woman and she shoots me down, all right, I'm going to feel a little discouraged for, a couple minutes, but at least I tried. And it's better to have tried than to sit back and wonder if only I had gone and spoken to this girl. And a recent story of that has to do with me and my friend. We went out to this 4-day binge party scene in Liverpool. And, it's a university town, probably a younger demographic. Had a lot of fun. We went to the bars, we went to the clubs and stuff like that. And for 2 consecutive nights, we were in the Pop World nightclub. At the end of the evening, they tend to stay open later. And this really cute blonde girl came in there with all of her friends. They were celebrating a birthday party. And they all had their little wings and, like fairy dust and stuff like that. It was actually quite cute. And but she and I caught eye contact, through the club. And, she was watching me, I was watching her. It gets very obvious out here that they want to talk to you. end up dancing like right behind you and they try to bump into you to, you know, kind of spark the conversation. A lot of that was going on. But in the back of my mind, it's like, I know this is a university town. She's probably like 19 years old. You know, I'm not going to bother with this. And I shut it down even before I'd made any kind of approach. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with talking with a 19-year-old college girl out in, you know, the party town. You know, maybe just buy drinks for all of them and stuff like that. It could be completely innocuous. But I shut it down in my mind before. And it was actually something I was kind of stupid with myself about afterwards. Like, I should have just gone and talked to the girl. You know, even if she is 19, you know, we could, you know, we're just in the club, nothing's gonna happen and stuff like that. And it did bother me, you know, after the fact and stuff like that. So, again, rejection is much better than regret. And guys, we're trying to be the best versions of ourselves while, you know, we're in this life. Even for myself, you know, I'm gonna be hitting the gym again pretty soon. I started back my salsa classes. You know, I'm even doing some intermittent counseling. You know, maybe dealing with some personal issues that I probably haven't fully resolved. And it's all about being the best version of myself that I can be while I'm out here. And I really encourage you guys, if you're really interested in more of this stuff about the manosphere and about what it means to be a man and deprogramming some of the gynocentric and feminist theory that we tend to get a lot of pushback from, I recommend the book by Rollo Tomassi, The Rational Male. It's actually a phenomenal book. I'm going through it for a second time. I'll put links in the description below. Any purchases actually help support my lifestyle out here in the UK and helps me make more videos like this if this is the kind of content that you enjoy. But guys, you know, those are my stories out there. Don't ever be afraid of the rejection. It's going to fade. There's always more opportunity out there. Don't ever take it personally. If these people don't really know who you are, you can never take it really personally. And even if there is a rejection, sometimes it's a challenge and she wants to know if you've got the stuff to stand up to her and a lot of her crap. So those are my points for you guys. I hope that was helpful. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you'd like to see more. As always, thanks again for watching, guys. Take care.